Welcome to The Whole You, where we take your passion for holistic wellness and turn it into a profitable reality. In other words, make some money. Now here's your host, Haley Hobson.
Hey, my friends, I'm Haley Hobson, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to The Whole You podcast, where I share tips to help entrepreneurs and creative professionals like you implement healthy hacks and habits so you can eat smarter, rest better, and get it all done. Here we are again. It's officially the holiday season. I'm in the car with Madeline this morning and I'm like, hey, what's on the agenda today? Nothing. What classes do you have? Don't know. Pause for like 2 minutes. Hey, mommy, can I ask you something? Yeah, Madeline, what's on your wish list? What do you want me to buy you? And what I've noticed is so many of my friends, especially my mom's friends, are stressed AF for pretty much the entire last 2 months of the year. It's actually put a bit of a joke when we all get together for the holiday brunches and parties that I'm not pulling my hair out like they are. They always want to know what the secret is. And they actually don't believe me when I tell them because it sounds pretty boring. But my secret is having my productivity habits on lock. See? Boring. And here's what you got to know. When you know how to hack your productivity, things just get easier. You can do more with less effort. You find room in your schedule for all the activities that come up around this time of year, the extra gatherings, your kids' school performances, your end of year shiz with your biz, rush orders for the holidays, not to mention travel and family get-togethers. And when you're stressed to the max, you can feel it like suck at everything. You know what I mean? Like that jerk who snagged the parking spot that you've been waiting for, driving around that parking lot like 6 friggin' times. It can throw you in a fit of rage-filled tears. Speaking of rage-filled tears, gosh, have you started watching The Maid on Netflix? I mean, tell me, I'm only on episode 3, but tell me that not one crazy, another bad thing can happen to that girl every single minute. And she just stays calm. Her life is a friggin' mess. And yet we get thrown into rage-filled tears when we don't get the parking spot or some truly inspired creative cursing. Right? That's right. You heard me. While at the BMW, the white BMW at Whole Foods. You know who you are. And here's some good news. You don't have to feel like you suck at everything simply because you got a lot on your plate right now. Productivity is a skill you can learn. And it's the key to doing all the things, being healthier and more present in your life. And you guys, I have a super special guest today. He is an 8-time TEDx speaker who works with both students and entrepreneurs to be happier, more productive, and ultimately more successful. He's heart-centered. He's thoughtful. And he is a real go-getter. And whether you have your own biz, you work for someone else, or you're a homemaker, the nuggets of wisdom he's about to drop will inspire you. It will make you smile, and it will give you some really useful tips to try out for yourself. So let's do it, please. Please help me welcome my friend Blake Fly. Blake, how are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the world of Haley Hobson, says me. Can't wait to be here.
So I took your advice and I drove to this virtual meeting with you very safely. I'm wearing my cozy slippers. I got my joggers on. I got my warm beverages, and I was really careful on my way over to my laptop.
Perfect. Yeah, I always want to provide those public service announcements, knowing that people are commuting digital meeting to digital meeting.
Exactly. Well, why don't you just give us a little intro about who you are, just in case people did not get the blessing of your visit in my clubhouse room a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you for that. Well, my name is Blake Fly, which is short for Blake Flyshacker, but that's a tough name to spell, so that's the nickname, Blake Fly. And I believe that thank you is one of the coolest words ever, especially when it is unexpected. And I have basically built a business around that idea for about the last 10, 11 years. And if you know me or learn about my world, some days I might be delivering a keynote to a crowd or maybe online. Some days I might be leading a group of entrepreneurs as they're learning how to weave appreciation and gratitude into their sales and marketing methods. Or you might stumble upon me actually doing this kind of work also with young people, like students in college, high school, middle school, elementary school, all around how to create friendships and experiences and memories by just doing cool methods of saying thanks and delivering gratitude to their peers and fellow students. So once a year, I gather up people to do this in a huge way by kind of having a global gratitude fest for entrepreneurs where we can actually end our year by looking back and appreciating all of our progress and appreciating the people who helped make it possible by sending thank you messages in real time, videos, messages, written cards, just not waiting until tragic points or the end of a life to say the things that we hope people know they hear.
Well, I don't know if it's any coincidence that we planned this, but Thanksgiving is tomorrow in our US holiday. This episode is airing the day before our US Thanksgiving. So I don't know if that was karmic energy or if that was Kayla being super intentional.
Good point. Good
That was
point.
good. That's good. So we'll have you and I will have fun sending our love out with this podcast on some Insta stories and social media and stuff. And so, what are some of the things that you do? Like, what? First of all, I know you were. We'll talk about both entrepreneurs, kids. Like, what? First of all, what makes working with entrepreneurs so special to you, and what are some of the things that you do to help them move into this level of gratitude?
I think what makes working with entrepreneurs so special for me is that typically they're so hard on themselves. They're just so hard on themselves. Even people that are so successful, and I mean, people can't even fathom the level of success they've created in their life and for their families. And yet they're still hard on themselves. And so what I enjoy about working with entrepreneurs is how can we actually be more gentle as you build this giant business? In whatever form that might be. A giant business might just be having a couple clients, or it might be something like you want to take over the world in a beautiful, positive, impactful way. But to think of how can we do this in a gentle, playful, meaningful, fun manner where it's enjoying the ride instead of wishing you were further. And those are two very different ways to do business. Wishing you were further is, it's comparison, it's stressful, it's burnout, it's go, go, go. And enjoying the ride is literally looking back and going, oh my gosh, I'm literally making up my career. What? How is that even possible? I'm making up my career. Do you have a job? No, I just started a thing and it's worked for years or decades. And I think reminding entrepreneurs of that is so special for me because it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget how far we've come. It's easy to forget the people we've met. It's easy to forget the impact we've had. And it's easy to forget that we're actually inventing the rules and beating the game because we get to choose who we work with, when we work, where we work, why we work, and what we do for work. And these are all really cool things that if we're not careful, we forget are actually happening every second of the day.
This reminds me a little bit, but a little bit different than as an interview that I did yesterday or last week with another podcast guest. We were talking about energetic karma and how, like, as entrepreneurs, we're caught in all the doing, and we're caught in all the lists, and we're caught in all the tasks and the things that we have to do versus what we get to create and what we get to do. And I have done a lot in my career, in my life, and I feel like my older method when I was newer, as a newer entrepreneur, was more of like that hustle and grit and grind kind of mentality. I think that that was probably a mentality that a lot of people adopted. Like you can't get to where you want to be unless you like really put in the time and like hustle it out. And what I've noticed over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, maybe more, is that you can't get to where you want to go to unless, first of all, you slow down. You find space to actually find more creativity. You appreciate what's in front of you. You acknowledge and like dive in and figure out energetically what you need and what your body is asking for, because everything is so intricately designed, and you are giving out there to the rest of the world, which inevitably brings something back into your life, into your business, and fills you up. And for those of you who are out there and you're listening and you're in that, I got to do, I got to do, I got to do, I got to do, like, what if you just stepped back and you weren't so hard on yourself and you just appreciated and you watched the miracles happen in front of you, because all of a sudden God or your universe is like starting to conspire with you to make your life happen the way that you want to design it.
Yeah. As you're saying that, Haley, I'm thinking about how in the last couple of years, I don't think it was planned. It just sort of happened. I feel like I've created way more space for intuition in the way I do business, specifically the way I meet people. And I think lockdowns and pandemic and all that stuff might have accelerated it for me, because I noticed that when I'm on Zoom in, let's say, a new group or some networking event or a conference, because you see into people's world, literally, because they're often at home, I find the second that I see someone on Zoom, I just get this insight about them based on just, the way they're just showing up in a little Zoom window. And what I've started to do is I started to send private messages to those people, just letting them know one thing I appreciate about them, even though I have not yet met them, which is super far out to a lot of people. It's like, I don't even know this person, and they just literally sent me some gratitude, some appreciation. And it might be something as simple as, you and I have not yet met. I'm Blake. Your background has a bunch of photos of what appear to be some of the most important people in your life. I'm inspired by that. Enjoy the meeting. Done. Like, done. But it has to be sincere. It has to be genuine. I have to actually mean it. I can't just say it to make a connection. And that has led to really amazing friendships and even some really powerful client relationships, just by working and operating in that way. Oh, I'm now solo in this podcast. If it is still recording, here's what happened. The amazing Haley Hobson just vanished, probably because the amazing work that she does in the world, it just created a power outage in her local neighborhood. So if this still actually is recording, I'm here by myself right now. And this is hilarious because I now have the microphone. Oh my gosh, I'm solo on Haley Hobson's podcast. So maybe I can actually say something that when Haley plays this back or listens to it, it can serve as some unexpected gratitude for Haley. So let's do this. Hey, Haley, if you hear this, or if you are hearing this right now, or if someone tunes into this episode and hears this part where I'm solo on the mic, here's a couple things I hope that you are aware of. You and I have only met a few months ago. And since that time, I feel like I have learned so much from you just by the way you show up. Whoa. We're back. We're
I was like,
back.
so this is so funny. I was thinking about what you were saying that you were sourcing, like when you got on a Zoom with people. This is part of the last part I heard before I got a disconnect. I heard you say you got on a Zoom and you started to create, like you wanted to create a specific energy. You might message them in the background. And I was thinking about like how we source that energy with people. And so this other podcast I was telling you that I was interviewing for the other day, when we got it started, there was a disconnect. Like She was late. First of all, she rescheduled it. So number one, she had scheduled it. She had asked me to be on my podcast, and then she rescheduled it. And then she was late. I couldn't find her. We're like for 15 minutes almost trying to find her. Then after we are about ready to get started, like we're ready to press record, her Wi-Fi goes down. And it was like boom, 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 like all of these like little pieces of disconnect. I personally looked at that as like, how can we source a better, more intimate level of connection? Because like right now, this feels off. And as I was thinking that, my Wi-Fi went down right now,
Whoa.
just now with you. And I messaged you. I wasn't sure if you were going to look at your phone. I was like, dude, keep talking because I don't see you or hear you. And I'm going to start this over and come back. So
I
you said
talked
anything
the whole way
sweet.
through it. I didn't stop. I did a solo bit. So it held the whole time.
Is there anything that I need to know, or should I just go listen to my episode later?
No, I was literally about to just acknowledge you for the things I've learned from you already until you came back. And then you came back right as I was about to be like, Haley Hobson, here's some things you've already taught me in like the 2 months we've known each other. And then you came back. So that's where we
I
left
just
it
wanted to
off.
hear it. Fill me up.
Okay. Well, I need to share it with you because I did start the thought. I do want to finish the thought. It is a relevant thought. And here's where I'm going to go with that thought. So for those tuned into this, I met Haley maybe 2 months ago. I was invited to speak as a guest speaker at a mastermind that Haley is a part of with an awesome human that we both know named Stu McLaren. Haley and I connected the next day. We just hopped on a phone call. Since that time, I've been able to contribute to Haley's Clubhouse community, summits, and I follow you on Instagram and just see what you're up to online. And something that I'm baffled by, Haley, is you are literally like this constant community lighthouse for communities that both I'm now a part of and even communities that I'm not a part of because I can't be or because I not yet am a part of it. But I just feel like you're constantly like awake and up and leading and casting massive, beautiful vibes. And it's almost as if there's anybody out there who in a day goes, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like feeling it today, or I don't know about this whole like entrepreneurship thing. You could just sort of click the Haley Hobson door into the world of Haley, and there's just like a beam of presence and support and charisma and good vibes and tunes. So these are things that I just pick up. I've only known you for 2 months. There's years ahead, but that's
I
what
love
I've
it.
picked
I
up
love
so
it.
far.
Thank you. Thank you. So speaking of like good vibes, like the reason I am really committed to show up like that every day is because I know that my community struggles with the overwhelm of life. They've got things they want to do, stories they tell themselves about why they can't do it, stories they tell themselves about how they have so little time. They've got kids, they've got families, they've got maybe jobs that they're in. Maybe they want to leave their jobs and become entrepreneurs. They can't figure out how to find the time to do that. Maybe they're entrepreneurs and their business isn't where they want it to be. But my community is a community that tells themselves a lot of stories and then feels super overwhelmed with not being able to be where they want to be, but they want to do the work. They want to do the work. So they're here for inspiration from both of us. And I have a personal thought, a personal belief that you can be more productive and yet not be overwhelmed, that you can be more productive and yet not work 20 hours a day. In fact, I'm getting to a space, Blake, where I just want to do one thing a day. Like one thing. Like maybe two, depending on how intense the one thing is. Like you and I are going to wrap for, 30, 40 minutes. And that won't be the one thing. Cause I think I'm capable of doing more than one thing than hanging out with you. But like, if I have like a master class I'm teaching that's 2 hours, like I just want to do that one thing. I might wake up and be on social, but I just want to do that one thing. And I used to have this like laundry list. And I think that you can be more productive and get more productive relevant work done by being more focused and opening up more time for yourself. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
You just reminded me of something I haven't thought of for years, which was I went to a conference probably 8 years ago. And the guy on stage who was leading the weekend, he just said, do 3 things a day. Like if you need more than your hand to write your to-do list, too many things. He's like, I do 3 things a day. I write it on a Post-it note. I just put it in my pocket. I don't have a planner. I don't have an agenda. I have a Post-it note, 3 things a day. And he was just so big on this. And I mean, this guy built a heck of a career, been in business for a long time. And I heard that 8 years ago. I still haven't done it. I don't think I've even tried it. I don't even think I've tried to do 3 things in a day. And it's not because I do tons and I'm like, go, go, go. I actually think it's because I'm a huge idea guy. I'm a big creative person. I mean, if you put me into a brainstorm, I will, I won't ever run out of gas in a brainstorm. So 3 things a day, 2 things a day, 1 thing a day. I believe that's totally possible. I'm not there yet, but what I relate it to is I think back when I was a kid in school, let's say the teacher gave us like math homework to do at our desks. It's like, okay, everyone, fill in these 20 questions. You'll have an hour, work quietly at your desk. Why is it that some of the kids at the table finished right at the hour? Some of the kids at the table finished in 10 minutes. And some of the kids at the table, they needed to spend weeks on that and get tutor and extra support and all that. And I think business is the same, where Haley might be able to finish something in 10 minutes that takes Blake 2 hours, that takes Sally 3 days. So we get to call the shots because, I mean, no one's ever been using the same amount of time for the same task since the beginning of our life. We saw it as a kid. So I think doing 1 thing a day, totally possible. And my whole idea is, how can I just operate my business as though it's a job and have a punch in clock and a punch out clock like I did when I worked at a grocery store in grade 9. Because if I punch in at a time and punch out at a time, my mind is better, my health is better, my work is better. And the days that I operate with that punch clock mentality, it's amazing. And the days that I don't, I'm just kind of spinning my wheels more than I should be. So those are my thoughts on that
Yeah, and I like that.
question,
And the one
Haley
thing I just
Hobson.
want to clarify, I didn't mean like I'm not willing to like unload my dishwasher or like throw a load of laundry. And I'm just talking about like in my business. Yeah, like, and the reason is because I want to put 100% in. I want to really put 100% in and not be like multitasking and working on multiple things at once. So as you were talking about that, I was trying to look at my calendar to figure out like, okay, all right, maybe I'm like over exaggerating with 1 thing a day. Cause today I was totally capable of doing a Facebook Live for 10 minutes, doing a podcast episode with you. And I believe I have like a meeting. Well, it looks like something might have just canceled, but I think I looked like I had 2 meetings. One with I'm really excited about this new team I've been working with to help really scale our productivity over the last couple of months, working with like SOPs and calendar goals and um, meeting goals and hiring goals and retention goals. So there was like an hour meeting with them, and then there's an hour meeting with my internal team to just like wrap up and get super dialed in about what our month of November looks like. But that's enough of a day for me. So that would be like 3.5 hours of work, right? 2 1-hour meetings, a podcast with you, a live. Doesn't mean I can't like play on social media or answer a phone call, but what I want to be is I want to be more present for what's happening around me. So those are my 3. I'll say I'm going to agree with you 3 things because some of them can be smaller.
Well, and you clearly are such an incredible leader, and you have the team and you have the leverage in place. Whereas some people, if they work totally by themselves on their own island style, hearing this might be pretty jarring. Like, what? But also aspirational in the sense of, how can you get some humans in place so that you actually do have the ability to have some humans helping out, or some delegation, some systems, some tools, some automations. So 3 things a day is actually someone's equivalent of 20 hours a day doing 30 things.
Yeah, totally, 100%. So you work with not just entrepreneurs. You mentioned that you worked with high school kids, college kids. What lessons are you sharing with them that may apply to all of us as well?
The main lessons that I'm sharing with them are, for lack of a better term, it's how to build meaningful, memorable relationships with the people in your life. And so, as an example, like, I've had the ability to give 8 TEDx talks. I was invited to give 8 of these
8
things over the
TEDx talks,
years,
you
and
guys. Did you hear that? That's amazing.
and in one of them, I titled it "How to Finish High School" because I was invited to give a TEDx talk to high school students as one of them. And in How to Finish High School, I basically told students to write 4 cards before they graduate. The first card is to thank their friends. So who are the key people that have gotten you through high school? Write it down and say thanks to your best friends. The second card is to their teachers. Like, who are some of those key mentors, teachers, coaches, guides, mentors? Write them a card to say thanks for their impact before you graduate. The third card was to thank their parents or family members for the role that they've played in getting them through high school. Then the final card I invited them to write was to themselves, just to acknowledge the progress they've made, the person they've become, and the things that they've learned and rallied through during high school, because that is a hell of a time. It is so foundational. And so even though I share those messages with students all the time, I think that that is probably one of the most universal shares, especially for entrepreneurs, because we need these relationships to do anything, but sometimes we don't actually articulate to these people how much we need them and how much we
And what
appreciate
does it
them.
look like? Like, what are the results you see?
Well, there's a lot of crying. I see a lot of people just well up when they receive these kinds of messages because they are unexpected. They're not on a birthday. They're not on an anniversary. They're not at a funeral. These are just random Thursday messages that someone might receive in their phone or in their mailbox, physical or digital. So there's that. And then from a business point of view, I'm always amazed that when I work with my clients, people are often thinking like, okay, marketing, how can like I stand out and be remembered and get noticed? And we need to do something experiential and awesome and different and innovative. And I go, okay, cool. So let's just say a thing or send a thing that no one else on the planet will ever say or send to these people. And the fastest way to do that is to think of what is one thing that you and only you really appreciate about this person. And now how can we just tell them? So I help people make these into videos, into audios, into handwritten cards, because people get really stuck on what to say when they're delivering these messages.
Can
So
we do
that's
that?
where I
I
come
was
in.
just thinking, like, can we do that right now? Can we like
For
craft a
sure.
message for people? Like, you
Yeah.
guys who are listening right now, I've done this with Blake. I did it with him. This is why I was inspired. I felt compelled to reach out to him right after I met him on when I was with Stu. I was in a room in Florida live with Stu McLaren with a bunch of people in my mastermind, and Blake was on the other side of the screen, and he dialed in for an hour and he played a game with us, and it moved me so much that I literally sent him a DM that night. We got on the phone the next day, and that's how we've been in each other's worlds since. And I want to we can't obviously do it as interactively as we did that night because we're not talking to you live, but like let's do what we can do, and let's see if these guys can play.
All right. Well, I can do one with
Okay.
you. Like we can make a message that you send, and then that'll be the model.
Okay. And I'm gonna actually find something to write it down on so that if we decide to push this out anywhere, we can.
Okay. So to start, we need to actually think of the relationship. And when I say relationship, I mean we're connected to hundreds of people, indirectly or directly. So I'm just gonna like play a little game with you right now, Haley. I'll get you to think of some people. So, do you want this to be professional or personal relationship? That's the first category choice.
I think personal.
Okay, awesome. Do you want this to be someone that you're currently super dialed in with, like you're talking all the time, texts are flying by the day, or someone that is ancient history, or someone that, maybe you are due for a reconnect
I think I
and
want it
you're
to be
aware of it?
somebody who I talk to, not necessarily text flying all the time, but it's in my life right now.
Okay, wonderful. Is anyone coming to
Yeah, there's a few
mind
people
right now
coming
as
to
you
mind.
say that? Okay, so just give me the first name of one of them that we can actually craft a message to right now.
Okay, I think I want to send a message to my friend Shanda because she brought me into her world
All
of
right, Shanda.
leadership development, and I'm in this program that I'm in right now because of her.
Okay, beautiful. So, in which way do we want to message Shanda? This could be written, this could be a video, this could be an audio, this could be a text. There's so many ways we can do it. My invitation to people is always like go up the ladder. Like top of the
Video.
ladder is in person, right below it is video, right below that is audio, right below that is just like a written thing, and a handwritten card is pretty high up there as well. So what's your preference? And
I'm
we'll
gonna do
build
video.
this. Video. Beautiful. Okay. So before we do this, here's a couple little frameworks I always share with people. The 3 reasons people don't appreciate the individuals in their life more often is A, they forget because we're busy. B, we think it's weird because it's rare. And third, we don't know what to say. So this whole podcast moment right now is the reminder. We're not forgetting. We're going to do one right now. Check. Second thing, is this weird? Completely. It is. That's why we don't do it more often. But what's worse is not sending it and not saying it. And then
It's
if it gets to a
uncomfortable,
point where
right?
we can't anymore, that's painful. So yeah, it's weird. We're going to do it anyway. That's why it's really, really powerful. And thirdly, if we don't know what to say, here's the 2 templates I love to start people with. One of them is thank you for. Literally, you say, hey, Shanda, thank you for, and then you think of 4 things. And you make them 4 specific moments or memories or pieces of impact from Shanda on the life of Haley. Second template I love to share with people is this idea of, dear Shanda, without you. That's the prompt, because those 2 words, without you, then it warps us into the specific impact that person has had on our life. And it generates these specific ideas of, oh my gosh, without Shanda, this wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't without Shanda. So I love those 2 options. Thank you for is a bit more like straightforward. Without you, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this happened because of my relationship with this person. So which of these 2 kind of strikes
Oh,
you
I
as
could go
a
with either,
framework?
honestly. I could go with either.
Okay, well, let's do you could even do like
Yeah.
a hybrid. I mean, you could say whatever you want. I just wanted to stretch our thinking a little. But before you send a video to Shanda while we're on this podcast, do you have any questions for
Oh, I'm
me
not
or
creating
things you
the
want to
video
reflect
while I'm
back?
on the podcast
How
because there's
come?
other people that might know Shanda, and this is a message I want to actually just give to her.
Okay. All right. Valid.
Yeah. But I am committed to create the video. I know that I can create the video, and I will send the video today.
Nice. I thought we were also gonna get to be lighter on it, but that's
Since this is
cool.
a
No, that's for
personal one,
you
I
and for
feel like,
Shanda.
and it's so
That's
deeply
awesome.
connected to what
Yeah.
I've been going through on my leadership journey right now. I'd rather keep it more
Right.
intimate, but I might share it later once I've created the video.
Maybe. So regardless of sending it and when you send it, what sort of questions or comments or insights are striking you right now based on that whole how to set up the delivery of this unexpected
Well, I don't
appreciation to
have
people in
any
our
questions
life?
because I've already gone through this experience with you a couple of times, and because of what the work I've been doing, this actually doesn't feel weird to me, but I can understand and relate to how uncomfortable this may feel to other people, like putting yourself out there in such a vulnerable way, wondering how somebody's going to respond on the other end and if they're going to respond. And the reality is it doesn't matter if they respond, because this isn't about what they're going to give back to me, what she's going to respond to me. This is just about me giving thanks for what she has provided for me.
It's also a really exciting thing when you say stuff like that about just what people provide for us, the impact they've had on us, or even like for you, the leadership program you're experiencing right now that is clearly a tidal wave into your life. it's so fun to get to be super specific about it. Like if I say, Haley, thanks. You're like, you're welcome. But if I were to share with you like 4 or 5 moments in my life that I experienced because of something you said or shared or like pointed me to, no one else can replicate that message. It's impossible because it's just from me and it's my world. But if we're like, thanks for being on the team, people can replicate that. It's like, oh, really appreciate you for being here today. People can replicate that. But how can you say a thing, send a thing, do a thing, give a thing that just no one else on earth can ever say it, do it, deliver it? Because it's such a unique experience
Agreed.
between you and that person.
I'm thinking about a couple things. I will share a couple things I'm going to thank her for. I'm going to thank her for I'm going to tell her that without her I would not have been able to show up in 100% responsibility like I know I'm doing now, and opening and having the capacity to open my heart to other humans like I'm capable of doing right now. So those are 2 things. I'll think of other things after the podcast. But thank you for inspiring me to do this.
You're welcome. And what I love is that this episode is now another version of gratitude for Shanda. Like you will send a video. You could also let Shanda know that like there's a moment in an episode that you made and you're speaking about her, and it's fun to be like, hey, check this out. Go to, minute 27 and 22 seconds and let me know what you think. It's fun to send people places that when they get there, it's just
This
delight.
is like, you guys, it's the habits and the hacks that I always share with you, like showing up and implementing simple strategies like brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, oil pulling, using digestive enzymes, saying thank you, right? Sharing gratitude. Like these are simple strategies that when you layer on top of each other, not only make you feel good, but they do actually make you more successful and wealthy in your relationships, your spirituality, your physical body, and literally in your pocketbook. And I want to wrap by actually bringing this back around to entrepreneurship and making an impact with more money, because I do believe that those of us who are showing up and being in this 100% level of responsibility and giving, serving, appreciating, giving gratitude, taking care of ourselves are the ones that experience making more money. And if you're in a hamster wheel where you're like, why does this keep happening? I can't balance my checkbook. I'm always down to my last dollar. I can't afford that. It's not the doing, bring this all the way back to the very beginning of this episode. It's not the doing and the tasks that you've got to check off. It's not the tweak of your marketing copy, although that might help too. It's these little habits and hacks that have a bigger impact on your life and your pocketbook that or that you would realize. Would you agree?
Definitely. I mean, I can think right now of specific examples where these methods that are just unexpected, spontaneous, serendipitous, they lead to cash. Like it's just this activity led to this money, whether it be for me or clients or people in my groups. It's not just warm and fuzzy. There's specific moments in time where this stuff becomes money and wealth generation. And there's this workshop that I deliver to different teams, which is how to create more clients, connections, and cash by using napkins, road signs, and cereal boxes. It's a session all around how to literally just leverage the things around you and the things that you see in the course of your day, that the moment it makes you think of someone, engage that person and let them into that moment in time and tell them about it. And I recall one time seeing a sign in a vineyard on a road trip, and off in the distance, the sign, it said Overholt. And I have a family friend with the last name Overholt. And I thought, oh, I wish I took a picture of that and sent it to Overholt. But I'd driven 20 minutes down the highway by that point. I decided, screw it. I pull off, go back on the highway. I go back 20 minutes. So this is like a 45-minute detour. I take a picture of the Overholt Vineyard sign. I email him. I say, hey, Chris, it's his first name. Just saw this, thought of you. Hope you're great. Blake. Sent it, got back in my car. Done. When I get home, I check my phone. Chris had responded. He and I, we sort of connect every so often, every few years over email. We might get a drink in town or something. But he's like a family friend. The guy's a C-suite executive. His career is wild. He's never home. His schedule is just bananas. And he's always wanted to come see me give a keynote, but he could just never fit it in his schedule. So he responded saying, love this email. You make me laugh. Thanks for brightening my day. When do you speak next? I would love to see you. And I said, well, this is a huge long shot, but tomorrow I'm speaking at LinkedIn in Toronto. You can come to that if you want. He responds saying, honestly, it actually works. I'll be there and I'm going to bring a colleague. Chris came to see me speak. He had to leave early, so I didn't even talk to him after. He sends me another email. I need to introduce you to someone. That was awesome. I got a phone call the next day from his colleague named Allison. Allison says, Blake, I don't even know you, but Chris raves about you. I got a retreat coming up. I need a speaker. You sound expensive, but I'm in a bind. Chris just says, hire Blake. And so that ended up basically being this surprise, like $15,000 into the business for me that I wasn't expecting because it was summer. I don't speak a lot in the summer. And I was getting married 2 weeks later. So I don't know about you or listeners right now, but to get an unexpected $15,000 weeks before your wedding, so helpful.
You guys,
so
mic drop,
helpful.
right? That is what I'm talking about. And that is how the universe works. Blake, before you wrap up, is there anything else you want to share or anything else you want to tell people how to find you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes when people hear these episodes with me, they're like, well, how do I use these approaches and things? My easiest way to sort of connect people to those methods is I made a free video series on just how to basically connect to anybody instantly, whether it be promotional partners or clients or whatever. And that's at instantconnecting.com. It's a free video series at instantconnecting.com. If you hit reply to those emails, they go to me, and I'm just Blake Fly on Instagram. I'm there 199th as often as Haley, but I'm there. And also, I run a 55-year event all about gratitude for entrepreneurs, and this is year 6 of 55. So I might see some of you at that event in the next 49 years.
I love it.
Would
Blake,
love to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Haley.
Every time I talk to Blake, I just feel like I got a big warm hug. Do you feel that energy too? I mean, I could talk to him every day, all day. And sometimes I do on Insta, on Voxer, on Clubhouse. So I know this productivity topic isn't like a super sexy topic, but it's actually a huge stress reliever. And I don't know about you, but I love that feeling when you know you got a lot done in a day. Like you feel proud of yourself a little bit and having productivity hacks that you can reach for and a good process in place or processes. And you can feel that way all the time. Which is why I've taken some of my favorite hacks because, I'm all about the hacks and I've put them in a free ebook for you. I call it my Healthy Habits and Holistic Happiness Guide. And inside you'll learn 3 ways you can hack your health. You're going to be able to change your habits daily in a way that serves you instead of leaves you feeling behind or overwhelmed or just off. And that's literally what I define as holistic happiness, knowing that you're consciously and purposefully designing a life you love through your habits. Now, hear me out. These hacks are a little unconventional, but they work. First, the guide walks you through some simple shifts you can make in your daily routines to bring more freedom into your life. And then next, we cover how to hack your mood so you can feel better, happier, more focused. And last, you'll learn how to detox your mind and your body in a natural way, all so you can have more energy and feel more rested. Sound good? Yeah, right? So to get your copy, you're going to head over to HaleyHobson.com/3, use the number 3, HaleyHobson.com, 3 health Hacks ebook. Super simple. HaleyHobson.com/3, the number 3, health hacks ebook. I'll post it in the show notes for you, all right? I'll also send it out in my weekly newsletter to you guys. All right, my friends, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And I hope you're having an amazing and productive week. I'll see you online.